What's going on, guys? Yep, I am not in Arizona. I am not in Arizona. I'll talk about it in a few minutes. Wanted to do a live stream pretty early today because I want to work on some videos. So I apologize for not giving you guys a heads up. But if you guys can't check it out, then, go see it at a different time. We got a misty day today, waiting for some people to get inside. The leaves look so beautiful when they fall so slowly. So we got quite a bit to talk about today. Again, wanted to do this early because I don't know how long the live's gonna be, because we have two topics to discuss. This was supposed to be a separate video, but I recorded the whole thing and there was no sound, so I'm just gonna have to do it in the live stream. So guys, I am not in Arizona as I was supposed to be. I actually ended up missing my flight. Just a lot of strange things happened yesterday. Some of it was my negligence. Perhaps I did underestimate New York rush hour traffic on a Friday. But even so, it really shouldn't take me, like 3 hours to move 8 miles. So yeah, I ended up missing my flight and I'm gonna have to reschedule it for a different day. But you know what? I wasn't upset. I was not upset, and I wasn't upset because I feel like there was almost something gloomy about it. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, something could have happened if I went, if I was gonna be there today. I don't know. I can't explain it, but I'm not upset about it. It is what it is, and I'm just gonna move forward. So today, we are gonna start off in Prophets of the Great Spirit. Now, I was reading this with my little sister, and we were just having a great laugh. This goes back to what I've been talking about a little bit, what Big Judah has been talking about, what Abdullah has been talking about, and that's, what is witchcraft? What are these things? Hello, friend. How do you do? Take it easy. What is witchcraft? What is witchcraft? What are these things? I've heard it many times. Oh, you believe in other gods and spirits and stuff. You're not doing the will of the Most High. You're supposed to be bound to this Bible. That's all you need. Okay, that's you. You see, I can tell who's the real and who's the fake by what their spirit aligns to. What do they move towards? It's going to resonate in their spirit if they have the spirit. We must remember that we got mixed and scattered to the four corners of the earth. So now this moves beyond, how you look, DNA or phenotype. And I cover those things on my channel, but I do that, for one, for historical purposes, and two, to promote humility, right? I do these things. I literally will go out of my way to tell you who you could not be, just so you will take a humble perspective and say, all right, well, I don't really know. I can't really tell who I am based on how I look, but I think I still know who I am. That's good. I'm testing your morale. I'm testing who you really are. And I'm trying to gauge the correct response out of certain people. So I'll go out of my way and talk about certain stuff like that on my channel, just so I can test the spirits of people, right? It doesn't really matter what I have to say about anyone in any certain demographic. If they resonate with the information, they're going to move towards it. Nothing I say will stop them, right? So getting back to it, why are people bound by a book? It's because they are not, they're either scared, right? They're scared of moving towards their true calling, or they're not my people. It's quite simple for me. It's simple for me. That's how I rule it out. I just say they're not my people. I don't care if they're my fleshly people or not. They're not my people. The Israelites wrote the Bible, right? The initial one. The initial scrolls, or maybe the ones that are based on the originals, writings, the original scrolls and things of that sort, we wrote them. The Most High did not come down and write them with his finger. We wrote them. Is that correct? So how is any more going to be established? If all of our records got infiltrated, right? If they're all coming from Gentiles now, then I don't get it. How did you expect us to come back into prominence? We're not bound by a book, right? And what I'm about to read in this book right here, Prophets of the Great Spirit, we're going to touch on that, particularly what the Gentiles, what the British and these other different groups, but particularly the British for whatever reason, how they felt about our religions, our ancient ways, right? And how they were so adamant about putting us in a box, the same way how many people today are so adamant about putting us in a box. I question them. I wonder about them. I really do. So let's get to it, man. I'm doing this with one hand, so this might be a little bit difficult. And we are on, let me see. Damn, it's hard to navigate these pages, man. Hold on. Okay, so we are on, I think this is page 11, the Delaware Prophets. So we are discussing, this is pretty much a little story about David Brainerd, this British evangelist, whatever they're called, a Christian, and his experiences and his dealings with the Delaware Indians. So let's start to read. Oh my gosh. Again, this is mad hard with one hand. Okay. David Brainerd, Presbyterian missionary to the Delawares, had little respect for his prospective converts. Indians, he declared, were unspeakably indolent and slothful, have little or no resolution or ambition. Now, this is such a common argument, and I'm not necessarily trying to pick on anybody, or I'm just being real, among, the white European. And their whole argument is really based on a lot of different jealousy that they have for the native peoples. Oh, they have all this potential. They could do so much, but they just choose not to. It enrages them. It angers them. They have no ambition. They could make so much more money. If I had the body and the good looks they had, I'll be able to do so much more. But instead, they just decide to, I don't know, lay around and eat watermelon or whatever the hell. It's very similar to what they say about the so-called black population today, right? In the Americas, at least. It's that same excuse or the same way that they want to paint them. It's very interesting. Shalom, bro. Hey, thank you for stopping by, bro. Appreciate you. Let's continue. Not one in a thousand of them has the spirit of a man. That's his quote. High-strung, frail, and humorless, Brainerd might well have been a model for the typical British missionary, described some years later by Sir William Johnson. Well-meaning, but gloomy, determined to abolish at once their most innocent customs, dances, and rejoicings. That is what this dude, David Brainerd, was so staunch about doing to the Indians. He thought what we were doing was so wicked. right? All of our customs and dances and things of that sort, they were so wicked. He felt the need to expose them because he's a devout follower of Jesus. And Jesus didn't do any of these things. Jesus didn't have wands and crystals and things of that sort. No. See, when he raised them from the dead, he just said a magical prayer. A magical spell. No, like, come on now. We don't know how he did anything. And in fact, in the book of remembrance, a lot of I forgot to add a lot to that video I just released. You know, it was early in the morning and I went to bed really late because I came back from the airport really late. But anyway, the book of remembrance said that the Messiah, so what people, quote unquote, Jesus, what I call matzah, he used the watchers to raise Lazarus or Eleazar from the dead. He didn't just pray to the Most High and then he just was able to do it. No, he used the quote unquote elements of righteousness or the watchers. He knew which ones to use, right? He was up on game on that. So we don't even know how he did anything. You have all these different customs that we don't even know about today. And what the Christian church, what the Catholic Church has done, they have demonized our ancient ways. That's what they have done. And I believe I said this in another video. I don't remember because, again, my video, I had it muted by mistake. But how the different energies work as far as masculine and feminine energy is the energy of creation. Feminine energy is the energy of amplification. He just said in that live that he just did, it's like a hand and a glove. The man is the hand and the woman is the glove. You enhance the hand, you make it stronger, you make it better equipped to do other tasks and things of that sort, right? So there's a certain way how you pray, and then there's a certain element that you use while praying. It would be like the men are addition, the women are multiplication, right? Now, a wicked man is subtraction, and a wicked woman is division. That's why it says what it says in the scriptures about a wicked woman tear down her house and a righteous woman builds it up. Yeah, a wicked woman divides her house and a righteous woman multiplies her house. A slothful man or a wicked man, he doesn't have a house because he's lazy. He only thinks about himself. A righteous man is going to think about, well, what can I do for my family? How could I provide this for my family, or provide this for my nation, or provide this for my people? It's called compassion, right? Women have what's called charity, unconditional love, the ability to love despite of sin. So yes, these two energies are also, when it comes to are present when it comes to praying and things of that sort, right? So that's what the Messiah did as well. He knew what to say, right? That's what people will call the Kabbalistic knowledge, the occultic knowledge, right? What to say, when to say it, at what time, and things of that sort. That's the masculine energy. Then you have the feminine energy on what should you wear, what physically should you have in hand, what physically should you have present, should you have fire present, should you have this tree present, things of that sort. What herb to have. That's the feminine. That's the enhancement of the prayer. So that's how they work hand in hand. Now continuing, how do you use the elements? I mean, there's a lot of study that has to go into it. You have to study what elements do you use at what time. You know, I'm still studying that. I'm still new to this stuff. You know, it tells you in the book of the brother of Jared a little bit about how to use some of the elements. For example, if you want to learn how to be more humble, you have to meditate around the ocean, right? You have to ask the ocean for advice. You do not worship the ocean. You do not worship the ocean. You ask the ocean for advice the same way you're asking me for advice right now. And then you thank the Most High for that creation, right? That's how the process works. Shalom, brother. Hey, thank you for stopping by, bro. Appreciate you. Continuing. Sir William, the Crown's the Crown Superintendent of Indian Affairs for the Northern District, complained that, in comparison to their French Jesuit rivals, British missionaries were both ignorant and tactless in their dealings with Indians. Since he spoke none of the local languages, young Brainard relied on an interpreter. He avoided close contact with Indians and boarded with nearby white settlers when in Indian country. When he called at their villages, he sometimes employed a dramatic and confrontational strategy, interrupting religious rituals and challenging the local spiritual leaders to use their witchcraft against him. Their witchcraft against him. He was challenging them, hey, use your witchcraft against me. This stuff is cringy, man. This stuff is really cringy. And you see how rude he is. See, here's the thing, man. This is how you could tell that they're being used by Semi Haza, right? They're being used by them. They're not coming from the Most High, because the Most High does not aggress on people. He only holds up a mirror to people and let them hang themselves with their own negativity and their own wickedness. But he does not aggress on anyone. He's not going out of his way to bother people. If you want to be wicked, okay, cool, go ahead, do your thing. But it will hang you at the end. You'll be hung by your own devices, right? I heard old boy literally say that he made Sabal, right? You're going to be hung by those own words. All wickedness has a cycle to it. Everything has a cycle to it, whether it's wickedness or righteousness. So that's how you know he's not coming from the Most High. He's coming through his deity that was made at Antioch, white Jesus, right? That's his deity. In one instance, however, the village shaman did not follow the usual practice of ignoring the missionary's presence. In his diary, Brainard recorded that in the summer of 1744, while visiting a Delaware village on the Juanita River, he was accosted by, turning the page, a bear-skin clad figure wearing a wooden face, painted one half black, the other tawny. Its mouth was extravagant, cut very much awry. The apparition shook its tortoise rattle and danced toward Brainard with all his might. The missionary cowered, for although it was then noonday, I knew who it was. His appearance and his gestures were so prodigiously frightful. Well, I thought if you have the spirit of Christ, that you're not going to be afraid of anything. Why are you afraid of some pagan? Right? I thought you were supposed to be able to control all the demons and bound them up, right? If you're a follower of Jesus. So why are you so afraid? Why are you cowering? That's not the spirit of Jesus, right? Shalom, beloved family worldwide. May the Most High Noka said bless you on his day today. Thank you for stopping by, bro, as always. Oh. That they invoked fear of infernal powers. What is this guy talking about? This dude is scary as hell, bro. Never before, he confessed in his diary, had any sight inspired such images of terror in my mind. This guy is so dramatic. It's not even that serious. Brainard's confrontation with the shaman then took an unexpected turn. To his surprise, his antagonist, who spoke English, treated him with uncommon courtesy and suggested that they talk of matters of the spirit. Let me see. Sitting together in a house consecrated to religious uses, the ground beat almost hard as a rock with their constant dancing. Hold on, that's when this dude messed up, the Indian dude. That's when he messed up. Why the hell would you listen, I wouldn't even let someone of my own tribe, right, who is not really rocking with what I'm rocking with, I wouldn't let them in my quote unquote religious or spiritual space. So why the heck would you let a Gentile like this in your religious space? I don't understand that. In a sacred space, they can learn, but there's certain things that you need to have a separation for. Solomon, he had a court for the Gentiles, right? Like they had their own spot, but they could not be in our court. You know, there has to be some sort of boundaries that are set. So I don't know about that. Peace be with you, my brother, and the family, the beautiful nation. Thank you for stopping by, bro. I don't know. This is the second time you wrote that. I don't know what that means. Let me see. Brainard learned that his companion believed that God had called him to revive the ancient religion of the Indians. The shaman tried to explain his experience to the missionary how, after leading a pointless and desolate life, he withdrew into the woods. After months of solitude, received his calling. Doesn't that sound familiar? That's very familiar. You know, that's very familiar with what happens to many of our people. After they go into the woods, you know, among the watchers, that is when the Most High calls upon them and gives them a mission. And his mission was to revive the religion of the Indians, of the ancients. You see, the Most High never told the heathen to come and take away our stuff. They would take away our stuff because of our own wickedness, but he didn't tell them to do that. That was not what he told them to do. They were supposed to, they did take our land. He let them take our land. He let them do certain things, but they went too damn far. And they were doing things that they weren't supposed to do. You know, that's just what it is. But anyway, let's continue. Brainard interjected that his companion's vision came from the devil, not God, as all Indian religious beliefs and modes of worship were diabolical in origin. Again, this is a Christianity perspective, right? We're not rocking with Christianity, bro. We're rocking with the Messiah, but we're not rocking with Christianity. Those are two different things. Oh, it's so sludgy out here. Now listen, this is this is important, guys. What his response is. Her response was, the shaman protested, there was no devil. Wait, oh, I skipped ahead. He warned that their adherents would suffer the eternal fires of hell. The shaman protested, there was no devil, not an Indian belief, nor was there a hell. So in Indian belief, there is no devil. There is no hell. And that's true even in the so-called Jewish religion or their faith. There really is no omnipresent devil, right? There's Semi-Haza, but he's not what like the Christian church makes him out to be. Semi-Haza, he can only spy on us and do certain things if we let him. On a mental and spiritual aspect, the quote-unquote devil or Satan is actually your own ego. You are your own devil. That's the truth of it. That doesn't mean that there isn't a devil, but you make your own devil, to put it in that way. You let him in. Now that's on a metaphysical level. On a physical level, you let him in with the different fallen devices that you have around you. Spirits can come out of them and influence you. You know, change your mood, change your way of thinking. The same way how this can change everything. All of this, being around them can change everything about you. And the same thing works in reverse. Everything has a reverse and a correct way. Everything. So that's very true. There is no omnipresent devil. There's no such thing as that. There's ways how you invoke him, and there's ways how you don't. There is no hell, meaning you create your own hell, right? Everyone who goes to quote unquote hell, they decide to go there by their own actions, whether that's in this life or the afterlife. All this is true. These hills, man. As I said, guys, we walking up the walls of Jericho. So this is a bit of a journey. Let's keep reading. Now, this is what I really wanted to read, this part. Christianity, he told the missionary, might be fine for whites, but God wanted Indians to follow their old ways. The Most High wants us to follow our old ways, not Christianity. That's for them. You didn't read in the New Testament when they were like, well, what are these Gentiles going to eat, right? They're talking about their dietary law because they didn't feel like they were going to keep them. So he had to give them a different law. We weren't given the same law the Gentiles were given. We don't have the same covenant, supposed covenant that the Most High has with them. We have a totally different covenant, right? We do. Book of Mormon says that, Gentiles will be able to convert. Okay, well, that's them. I wish them well, but they're not my responsibility. If they want to follow me, that's a different story, but I'm not about to follow no damn body. You dig? Oh my gosh. 1 second, guys. Let me get up here real quick. And as I said, I was supposed to be in Arizona, but I ended up missing my flight. So, yeah, not yet. But it is what it is. I'm not even tripping about it. Whew. Oh. 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 All right. Let's chill here for a second. Okay. All right, let's continue. So he told the missionary that Christianity might be fine for whites, but God wanted Indians to follow their own ways. The shaman puzzled Brainard. Impressed by his sincerity and honesty, the missionary reflected that there was something in his temper and disposition that looked more like true religion than anything I ever observed among the heathen. But the shaman stubbornly refused to consider accepting the Christian faith. Brainard was disappointed, but not worried. He did not regard his companion as a serious competitor. Now, to add something, guys, just because the Indians don't accept Christianity, that doesn't mean that they don't believe in very similar things. Like people, I don't know if people realize this, but their God, what they call the Most High, the Great Spirit, Wakantaka. Yeah, Wakan was supposed to come down on the earth as a thunderbird. What do you think that's talking about? Whew. My blood family still thinks it's of the devil, like the Catholic priest told them. And that's so sad. It's so sad. Like, my grandparents, they saw me praying next to a tree. Now, because they they're not like staunch religious people. Like they are, but they aren't. They're kind of like hypocrites. But I don't even know, bro. I really don't know. But anyway, they saw me, praying and doing stuff like next to the tree outside our house. And they don't even know what to ask me. They're just so confused. But at the same time, they don't question it either. Hey, how you doing? Pretty steep, huh? Leviticus sounds like a witchcraft guidebook when reading with a Western mentality. It does, but honestly, some of the stuff in Leviticus, I don't know, bro. I got to do some more research on that, because I've seen some stuff in Leviticus, in the Levitical law, that is damn near the same as the Babylonian law. And the current Bible that we have, the Masoretic text, it was written after the Babylonian captivity. So I just have my questions, honestly. Let's keep reading. He did not regard his companion as a serious competitor. The shaman's own people, Brainard concluded, scorned their holy man as a precise zealot that made needless noise about religious matters. The Indians have a funny way of phrasing things. Delawares, he insisted, were essentially a profane and degenerate, irreligious people. The Wayra, she comes and graces us. I had to pause for a second. The wind blows, the Wayra, she blows. Maybe the Babylonians got it from us. Possibly, but then again, I don't think so, because, well, I don't know. I'm not going to say yeah or nay. What I do know is that there are things that we don't do that they do. There's things that we both do. So I don't know. I have to do more research on it. For example, the original calendar was based on the sun. The Mayans, their calendar, it was like Chichen Itza, that's the sun. That's a solar calendar. But the Babylonians, they celebrate the new moon. Now, all of a sudden, now in our Bible, we're celebrating the new moon as our calendar. I don't know, bro. I don't know about that. But anyway, let's continue. David Brainard did not understand the Delaware Indians, and he was not inclined to inquire too deeply into their beliefs. His account of his conversion with the shaman is striking for its lack of insight into the nature of the shaman's experience. There's reason to suspect that the shaman may have been telling the missionary about his vision quest. Had he taken a sky journey to the Creator similar to that later experienced by the prophet Neelan? We cannot be sure, as Brainerd dismisses the matter, declaring that the Delaware holy man was mistaken in believing that God had inspired him. One wonders exactly what the shaman was trying to tell Brainerd. See, this is why I don't tell people, oh, they're wrong automatically if they are going down a certain path, unless I can 100% prove it. Other than that, I don't say anything, right? I don't say anything. There's certain things that I'm unsure about what brothers speaking about right now, but I'm not going to come out of my mouth and say anything if I don't know anything about it, because I don't want to hinder someone's potential, right? Instead, I'm just going to pray about it and ask for understanding and just leave it at that. That's how you be respectful to each other. Let's continue. One wonders exactly what the shaman was trying to tell Brainerd. One thing is clear, had the missionary been more willing to take the shaman's experience seriously, he would have gained some valuable information. His assumption that the shaman's message would fall on deaf ears within his own community was wide of the mark. Oh man, the wind is so it's calming. Give me a second, guys. This is a great feeling. It's a great feeling. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I was a bit bummed out by me missing that flight. I was a bit bummed out about it. So I don't know. I see that, the Most High has been trying to uplift my spirit a little bit. So I'm feeling good about it. Rush hour traffic in New York is no joke, bro. No joke. Let's continue. So the wind is blowing my page. One thing is clear. Had the missionary been more willing to take the shaman's experience seriously, he would have gained some valuable information. His assumption that the shaman's message would fall on deaf ears within his own community was wide of the mark. After Brainard's untimely death in 1747, at the age of 29, whoa, this dude sounded like he was like 60, 70 years old. And it's funny because that's how when they came over here and they drew a comparison between them and the Indians, they said the Indians were like a young woman, like a young bright-eyed woman, and the Europeans were like an old, stern, stoic old man. Like we were full of life, full of energy and happiness. We loved life and we lived it to the fullest, man. And look what has happened to us. Now we've been influenced by these same people. What did the brother just tell you? That his family still views what this stuff is as evil. That was given to them by the Catholics and things of that sort. It's a sad thing. The Indians, they understood the circle of life. We are now learning about it. Indeed, we're just trying to pick up the pieces. You know, they smashed their vase on the floor. Now we're trying to pick up the pieces. And it's cool. Damn, I'm feeling good now, man. I'm feeling good. Having a good day. It's a beautiful 50-degree weather day. Let's continue. At the age of 29, that's when Brainard died. And his younger brother, John, a Yale graduate ordained to the Presbyterian missionary in 1748, took up his work among the Delawares. John shared his brother's disdain for Indian habits, as well as his hope that their faults could be redeemed or remedied by conversion to Christianity. John was more vigorous than David, however, and established closer associations with the Delawares. Listening carefully to the talk in the villages he visited, he soon sensed that he had Native American competitors who were not, as his brother had imagined, scorned as zealots by their people. They were instead winning support for a new story of human origins that redefined the relationship of Native Americans to the spirit world and to the white man. Pay attention to this, guys. In the place of old origin myths, with their diverse agents of creation and their implicit assumption that all humans have a common ancestor, Brainard's Indian informants now claimed that an omnipotent creator God had made the Indians, Negroes, and whites separately, and that far from being a distant or an absent deity, he actively favored people of color. Not only were whites not superior to Indians, but they were morally suspect, as they had enslaved the Negroes and now plotted to take the Indians' land and make slaves of them and their children. Some of his informants confronted Brainard with the challenge that he himself intended to subjugate the Delawares and become their king. And how do you think the Indians knew that was their plot? Because this has happened so many different times with these different tribes. How these Europeans came and intermarried with the women, and now they're at the helm, and their family, they're all at the helm of as these chiefs of these tribes. Let me give you an example. The Navajo, their people, they're worth over $1 billion. However, why are 40% of them living in worse poverty situations? Over 40 goddamn percent. They're worse than people in the projects. And some of the worst situations. That lets me know that those chiefs are invaders. And they weaseled their way in the tribes. That's what they did. Bro, no wonder there was such a bias towards leopards. It was specifically mentioned. Yes. 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 Bro, that's not even the point of this video, so I'm not going to touch on it. But yes, I'll just say yes. Let's continue. In response to his protest that his concern was only with their spiritual salvation, Brainard's nativist critics replied that his efforts were misplaced. While it might be true that the Great Spirit had given the white man a book and told him that he must worship by that, Indians had not been so instructed. Christianity was therefore a religion for whites only, containing nothing of value for God's more favored peoples. And he's not only talking about even Indians, he's talking about, whom they consider as Negroes as well. And the Indians, they don't know everything. They think all Negroes are all Africans or whatever the case. But they mean well by that comment, right? Because any Negroes who are so-called Israelites, they came from Indians in the first place. So anyway, as he said, Christianity was given to the white man, right? According to them. And what they're really trying to say is that they are not bound by a book. They know that they are the book. They are the people. They are the chosen people. They're acting like it without even knowing it. How you doing? They're acting like it. They're not being bound by a book. They're not afraid and saying, oh my gosh, the devil's going to put me in hell. Now, a lot of them are today because they've been converted, but no, they moved in pride. They knew who they were. They knew. Given this, and I was supposed to say, yeah, so, different African peoples, they even have religions that were called pagan and things of that sort. And whether they're Shem or Ham or whatever they were still given these different religions or this way of life by the Most High that was passed down to them by their patriarchs. It was given to them the same way it was given to the Indians, the same way it was given to all the native races on the earth. It was given to them by the Most High. And now these Johnny-come-latelys, they come around and they want you to be subject to their religion, their God. I had this dude telling me that the Most High is gonna strike me down, and I'm like, that's your God. That's El. That's the Canaanite God. But he's the one who strikes people down and for not listening to him. That's Saturn. That's Satan. That's not my God. That's your God. I believe in the great spirit of loving kindness. He's a father. He's not a God. That's your God. We have to really be confident about who we know we are. We're more than a book, bro. I'm not saying you don't listen or adhere to the book, but I'm saying that if something is off about the book, then it's probably the book. It's not you. Let me give you an example. The Bible says you can have more than one wife by law, by quote unquote Levitical law, but that's not righteous. Women are more possessive than men are. I've witnessed it. They're way more possessive than men are. How are they so damn possessive if they're supposed to be, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them to one man? That doesn't make sense. That does not resonate with their spirits. It doesn't make sense. That's by law. So come on with that, man. Obviously, certain things in the book are not of the Most High. I'm not saying everything in the book is not, but you have to know what is and what isn't. That's the whole goal. That's this whole journey. The heathen have had all their hands in our books. I just find it funny. Let me add one more thing and I'll continue to read. I find it funny that in all of this stuff written by us, we are very, very integral and important, right? As the people, as the chosen people. But as soon as the Gentiles get a hold of our records, now all of a sudden Israel don't matter. Really? Now all of a sudden they can convert, even though it says in our records that they're supposed to follow us. Now all of a sudden they can become us. They can convert. Like, which one? What's the lie? What's the lie? That's what I mean, bro. That's what I mean. Yes, we are the true book itself, because who wrote the book? Who wrote the book? We wrote the book. And how did we get the information? We don't even know. Did the Most High just come down to us and say, Moses? No, bro. He went through us, through the waka, through the burning bush. We're about to talk about Judas Maccabees, right? I forgot, actually. I was thinking of Samson. Well, I was about to say the bone of an ass. But that was Samson, not Judas. I forgot why he was super strong. I don't know if the book said why. But let's just use Samson as an example. Samson, he was able to kill all those people with the jawbone of an ass, aka the Watchers. Right? We got all of our power from them. That's the whole point. They made it all pagan all of a sudden. All of a sudden, now it's pagan once they rule the earth. Like, come on with that, bro. Now it's witchcraft. Let's read this, guys. Given the atmosphere of distrust, Brainard could not obtain much specific information about the activities of the nativist prophets who were so effectively undermining his efforts. He did hear rumors about a revolution lately made by a young squaw in a trance. And I hate that word, bro. That word pisses me off. That word pisses me off, bro. Because that word squaw pretty much means P-U-S-S, you know the rest of it. That's what it means. It's one of the most disrespectful things that I've really ever read. And it just goes to show you what type of people they are, to call our women that. The Most High used Samson's hair, right? Yeah, well, yeah, that was pretty much his element of righteousness. But I was talking about the weapon that he used to kill people with. It was a jawbone of an ass. Or was it? Was that Samson, or was that... I think that was Judas, bro. I'm tripping, bro. But we're about to read the story anyway. But anyway, a revolution that a young, Indian woman made in a trance. The prophetess claimed that the great power had instructed her to denounce the use of poison by tribal leaders. So, this young sister, she was in a trance, and however she did it, and she was able to get a message from the Most High, right? I don't see how that's any different from ayahuasca or tarot cards or some sort of or crystal, right? There's many different ways how we got our messages from the Most High, right? There's many different ways how we did it. Not everything is good, but there are different ways. There's a good way and a bad way how to do everything, right? And it's not that the whole thing is bad. It's just that we have to figure out what's good and what's not. And he is giving that to us. Shalom family. Yes, it was Samson. Okay, thank you. It was. I forgot what Judas used. But he was one of my favorite people in the scriptures, man. We're about to read about him. Brainard conjectured that the practice she challenged was from a form of witchcraft. Everything is witchcraft. It's witchcraft. That's not a Jesus. I ain't listening to that, man. Yes. Look at that. I'm not one of those lunatics that every time the wind blows, I'm like, oh, yes, see, it's speaking to me. The Holy Spirit's here. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Like, chill. Rushing home to watch? You could just watch it later. You don't have to rush home. Just chill out. Chill. It's all good, sis. I appreciate that, though. That's very sweet. Let's continue. We have reason to suspect that the prophetess' message was far broader than he realized. She may have been a leader in a movement to oust local leaders who collaborated with the British, a movement that foreshadowed Delaware belligerency in the French and Indian War. And that's very similar to what it said in The Brother of Jared, how Joseph Smith was actually supposed to deal with the Ummah people, right? He was supposed to learn from them. He was not supposed to teach them. He was supposed to give us the records. We were supposed to use our ancient knowledge to protect him from the incoming demons that were going to come after him. And that was the relationship that they were supposed to have, right? They were supposed to have a friendly working relationship, and they just wanted power and dominion over them. That is why the Indians were saying, no, you actually want to rule over us, because that's what the Holy Spirit was telling them. The Holy Spirit was telling our people, these people mean no good. They actually just want to rule over you. They just want what you have. Let's relocate. So yeah, man, like stuff that they're calling witchcraft and things of that sort, there's two sides to every coin, right? And they're just trying to scare you away from it because they don't have that power. They do it and they can only do a little bit of it. And the rest of it, they have to get us to do it indirectly in their churches and things of that sort. Oh, what is this sweet smell? Whoa. Oh man, it's been such a long time since I've been to this park. I'm getting goosebumps. I wonder why the Most High wanted me here today, man. You didn't want me going to Arizona today. I wonder why. I don't know. Anyway, let's sit down over here. Actually, never mind. It's kind of wet. Sit down next to this tree then. The wicked use fear, which is the lowest form and power. Yeah, exactly. Fear is not of the Most High. So they're talking about, oh, this is gonna get you, and the devil's gonna come, and come on, bro. Like, come on. I don't believe in no damn Monsters Inc. monsters. I don't care about that stuff. I'm about to scare me into anything. Okay, so now we're in the Apocrypha. I believe it's First Maccabees, right? First and second or something like that. I'm only gonna read like 2 chapters. Oh man, this air smells so good. So this, my brethren, is the story of Judas Maccabees, Mattathias and his sons, right? And the advent of the Maccabees and how they overthrew the Greeks and took back the altar that they defiled. It's a great story. It truly is. I haven't read this in a very long time. But let's start. Oh, bro, are you kidding me? I'm sorry, guys. King of Judah. When he was held in... bro, never mind. This is not a research video, bro. But anyway. And it happened that after Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, has smitten Darius, king of the Persians and the Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece, and made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth. And he went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up. This is talking about what they're calling as Alexander the Great. But what they do, guys, is that they pretty much label certain people. How do I say this, man? I don't even know how to say this. They will mislabel certain people and put them in different time periods. So Alexander, his real name could have been Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, we don't know what his real name was, but we just know that there was someone who came from the Kittim who conquered a lot. But we don't know who his real name was, right? It's Samson, you're right. Okay, yes. He gave him water through the bone too when he was about to die from dehydration. Oh, that's right. You see? But that's the Waka. That's the Erkedeshoi, the Watchers. That's our power. It's always been there. It's not witchcraft. It's always been there, bro. We're just not putting the connections, right? This wind keeps blowing my book open. he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick, and he perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them, while he was yet alive. Bobby Boucher's mama. It's the devil. Yeah, for real. All that stuff came from them, man. I ain't listen to that stuff. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. And his servants bear rule everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years. And evils were multiplied in the earth. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, the son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome. And he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. Look at these dudes, bro. Since we departed from them, from the heathen, we don't even know what to do with ourselves. These are the wicked among Israel, man. None of these people are getting anywhere. These are just as bad, if not worse, than the heathen. They will be, they will be extirpated. I forgot how to say that word, bro. Continuing. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. Now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have the dominion over 2 realms. Wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots and elephants and horsemen, and a great navy, and made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him, and he fled. And many were wounded to death. And thus they got the strong cities in the land of Egypt, and he took the spoils thereof. And after that Antiochus had smitten Egypt, he returned again in the 143rd year, and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude. And he entered proudly into the sanctuary, and took away the golden altar, and candlestick of light, and all the vessels thereof, and the table of the shewbread, and the pouring vessels, and the vials, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crowns, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off. And he took also the silver and the gold, and the precious vessels. Also he took the hidden treasures which he found. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre, and spoken very proudly. The same spirit of the Israelites crying, they were in the wilderness. Exactly, bro. Exactly. These are the same people, bro. These are the same people. It's a damn shame. Therefore, there was great mourning in Israel, in every place where they were, so that the princes and elders mourned. The virgins and the young men were made feeble, and the beauty of women was changed. The bridegroom took up lamentation, and she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness. The land also was moved for the inhabitants thereof, and all the house of Jacob was covered with confusion. And after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector of tribute unto the cities of Judah, who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude, and spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. For when they had given him credence, he fell. Whoa, hold on, I'm at a low percent. Got to charge my phone. 1 second. I'll read that verse again. light water in connector. What the heck is this talking about? Hold on, guys, hold on. I think it said my wire had water in it or something. 1 second. Okay, so it looks like my cord got water on it, so I can't charge my phone. Damn, what the heck? All right, let's just keep reading. And spake peaceable words unto them, but always deceit. For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city. Okay, it's opened again, sorry. For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city and smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel. And when he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire, and pulled down the houses and walls thereof on every side. But the women and children took they captive, and possessed the cattle. Then builded they the city of David with a great and strong wall, and with mighty towers, and made it a stronghold for them. And they put therein a sinful nation, wicked men, fortified themselves therein. They stored it also with armor and victuals. And when they had gathered together the spoils of Jerusalem, they laid them up there. And so they became a sore snare. For it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary, and an evil adversary to Israel. Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary, and defiled it, insomuch that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them. Whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers, and became strangers to those that were born in her. And her own children left her. Her sanctuary was laid waste, like a wilderness. Her feasts were turned into mourning, her Sabbaths into reproach, her honor into contempt. As had her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. And everyone, so listen guys, that whole we need to be one, there's no Israelites, there's only Christians. This is that Antiochus doctrine, bro. I'm not about that, man. I'm not about that. I'm about separation and order on all levels. And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beast, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said, should die. In the selfsame manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice, city by city. Then many other people were gathered unto them, to wit, everyone that forsook the law. And so they committed evils in the land, and drove the Israelites to secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for succor. Now the 15th day of the month Caslu, in the 145th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar, and builded idol altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side, and burnt incense at the doors of their houses and in the streets. Hold on. Now, it's talked about how that was the abomination of desolation, right? Now, yes, that is something that already happened. There will be another one that's going to happen because your body is also a representation of the temple, right? Israel as a people, we were destroyed and we're going to raise, right? Just like the so-called third temple, we are the third temple. But just because, so the same way how we're the third temple, then the abomination of desolation is going to be a man whose body gets defiled by an evil spirit. So yes, while it did happen, everything is cyclical, you know? Let me see. And just having burnt incense is not wicked, right? Like I heard some people think that having burnt incense is wicked. No, having burnt incense to a god, an idol, is wicked. Because using fire in a wicked way is very wicked. That's why it's wicked. Yes, your body's supposed to be the holy temple of the Most High. Indeed, it is. We are the temple. We are the temple. That's why the Gentiles are supposed to cleave to us, because we're the temple. Everything is like that whole Christianity doctrine, bro. That's only hurting them. That's not hurting me. I could care less. That's hurting them. Let's continue. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law which they found, they burnt them with fire. And wheresoever was found any of the book of the testament, or if any consented to the law, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death. Thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many as were found in the cities. Now the 25th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the altar, the idol altar, which was upon the altar of God. At which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised. And they hanged the infants about their necks, and rifled their houses, and slew them that had circumcised them. Howbeit many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing. Wherefore they choose rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died. And there was very great wrath upon Israel. In those days rose Mattathias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Joarib from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin. And he had 5 sons, Joanan, called Cadius, Simon, called Phaси, Judas, who was called Maccabeus, Eleazar, called Avaran, and Jonathan, whose surname was Apphis. That's his name. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, Woe is me! Wherefore I was born to see this misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers. Her temple is become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the sword of the enemy. What nation hath not had a part in her kingdom and gotten her spoils? All the nations circled and circumferenced us. Right? They did. Listen, I went in the video that I released this morning, I showed that they had maps of the Americas in the 600s, not the 1600s. So they've been here before. They know about these lands. They definitely do know. They know, man. And they were here for a time. It just didn't happen the way that it happened now, you know. But not all this stuff happened in the Americas. Some of this stuff, because some of the cities of Judah are over there as well, in Africa and Asia. Continuing. All her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman she is become a bond slave. And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it. To what end, therefore, shall we live any longer? Then Mattathias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourned very sore. In the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city of Modin to make them sacrifice. And when many of Israel came unto them, Mattathias also and his sons came together. Then answered the king's officers and said to Mattathias on this wise, Thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in the city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Now therefore come thou first, and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done, yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem. So shalt thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold, and many rewards. Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, Though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him, and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandments, yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. God forbid that we should forsake the law and ordinances. We will not hearken to the king's words, to go from our religion, neither on the right hand or the left. Now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment. Which thing, when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and he and his reins, I don't know what that is, trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar. So this dude, while he was in the midst of speaking these things, this heart-filled, passionate message about, we will not obey, these heathen laws. Then you had someone of the Jews who ran and sacrificed. Almost, I was trying to say, like I don't know about him, but I'm with you. I'll do it, boss. Like, that's what he was about, man. And Mattathias, he was like, oh, hell nah. And he killed him. Compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down. Thus dealt he zealously for the law of God, like as Phinehas did unto Zambri, the son of Salom. And I believe that was, I think during the Exodus time, when that dude, he threw the spear through those two people, when they had that idol, when we're coming out of Egypt in the camp. I think that's what it was talking about. And Mattathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, Whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me. So he and his sons fled into the mountains, and left all that ever they had in the city. Then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there, both they and their children. It's kind of cold, so I might only read chapter 3 after this, because I'm starting to get cold, I'm not going to lie. And my phone, I can't charge it. Both they and their children, and their wives and their cattle, because afflictions increased sore upon them. And when it was told that the king's servants and the host that was at Jerusalem in the city of David, that certain men who had broken the king's commandments were gone down into the secret places in the wilderness, and they pursued them a great number, and having overtaken them, they camped against them and made war against them on the Sabbath day. And they said according to them, Let that which ye have done hitherto suffice. Come forth and do according to the commandment of the king, and ye shall live. But they said, We will not come forth, neither will we do the king's commandment to profane the Sabbath day. So then they gave them the battle with all speed. Howbeit they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them, nor stopped the places where they lay hid, but said, Let us all die in our innocence. Heaven and earth shall testify for us that ye put us to death wrongfully. So they rose up against them in battle on the Sabbath, and they slew them with their wives and children and their cattle, to number of 1,000 people. That is such a sad thing. But this is why the Messiah told you, Man was not made for the Sabbath. The Sabbath was made for man, right? The Sabbath was made to help us, to give us a break, to rejuvenate our bodies, the same way how vegetables and different herbs are here to help our bodies. It's just that the Sabbath is just a much bigger vegetable. It helps us in a much broader way, physically and spiritually. But even so, there's a time and a place for all things as well. So we are the book, bro. I keep saying this because we have to think like we are truly the chosen people, not just a bunch of people who know the book better than everyone else. That it's more than that. It's much more than that. Yes, it was during the wilderness time Phineas killed an Israelite being with a Moabite woman. Oh, was it? I have to look into that again. I didn't know that she was a Moabite. Maybe that's why she had the idols. I'm not sure. Now when Mattathias and his friends understood hereof, they mourned for them right sore. And one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren have done, and fight not for our lives and laws against the heathen, they will now quickly root us out of the earth. Now, the answer isn't necessarily okay. Like now we're like, all right, that was their answer back then. And it talks about that in the book of Remembrance. That back then, the Most High was willing to, walk hand in hand with us. If we wanted to go to war, he was like, all right, fine. I'll help you out. Like, you guys are my children. I'm not going to, I'm not going to abandon you, right? I'm not going to do that. But this time, he really wants us to execute the highest level of righteousness. And the highest level of righteousness is not engaging in violence. It's just not. And he tells us how not to engage in violence. He tells us how not. One, when you pick up arms, when you pick up guns and weapons and things of that sort, you're putting a big target on your back. The wicked, they're going to fight amongst themselves. They're going to fight amongst those who they perceive as a threat. If you're not in this whole war, this whatever they're doing, then they're going to walk right past you. That's what he said. That's the promise that he made. So I believe it. And that's what we're supposed to do this time around. See, he made us a promise. They're not going to bother us. They're not going to attack us on the Sabbath or do any of that other stupid stuff. They're just going to leave us alone if we, do what we're supposed to do spiritually. This is all about getting us to pre-equal fall. Complete spiritual communication and communion with the Father. No books needed. Yes, sir. Yeah. The books are supposed to articulate what the Holy Spirit has to say. Now, I tried to make that video earlier, but there was no sound, so I don't remember if I said this in one of the two videos I released. If I did, forgive me. But it says in that book, it says that damn, I literally forgot what I was gonna say, bro. I literally forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, damn, I lost it again. I do not remember, bro. Anyway, let's just continue. I literally lost it. That's crazy, bro. I'm acting like I'm like 80 years old. Anyway, we have to keep reading. We have to keep reading because I'm only 10% of my phone. I want to at least get to Judas. And one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren have done and fight not for our lives and laws against the heathen, they will now quickly root us all out of the earth. At that time, therefore, they decreed, saying, whosoever shall come to make battle with us on a Sabbath day, we will fight against them. Neither will we die all as our brethren that were murdered in the secret places. So what did they do? Did they not change the laws of the book? Because we are the book. We are the book. They made a decree. The Most High listens to that decree because we are the book. Do you guys get it? If we're the chosen people, we gave them the laws. We gave them the laws. Moses gave them the laws. Most High didn't give us the laws. Moses gave us the laws. Aaron gave us the laws. Like, they're not unreachable people. These are just people. These are people who are inspired by the Most High the same way you are. If we declare that, listen, tarot cards and wands are not witchcraft, they're not wrong. if they're done in this way. Guess what? It's not wrong. That's the type of clout we have. Do you not get that, man? Move in that sort of confidence, because who else is going to? We have to continue, bro. My phone is gonna die, bro, and I want to get to Judas, bro, because Judas is that dude. And if I don't, again, this is the Maccabees, chapter 1, or first Maccabees, and we're in chapter 2 right now. So if I do cut out, then you guys can just continue reading. Then came there unto him a company of Assyrians, who were mighty men of Israel, even all such were voluntarily devoted unto the law, and all they that fled for persecution joined themselves unto them, and were a stay unto them. And they joined their forces, and smote sinful men in their anger, and wicked men in their wrath. But the rest fled to the heathen for succor. Then Maccabias and his friends went round about, and pulled down the altars. And what children soever they found within the coast of Israel uncircumcised, they circumcised valiantly. Now, you guys know how I feel about circumcision, but, in this context, I guess is not a bad thing because of the context of why we're doing it. But circumcision overall does not come from a good place. It's the same way how multiple wives does not come from a good place. But under a certain context, it's just like whatever, right? That's just what they knew at the time. They pursued also after the proud men, and the work prospered in their land. So they recovered the law out of the hand of the Gentiles, and out of the hand of the kings. Neither suffered they the sinner to triumph. This is righteousness, bro. This is good stuff, bro. I love stories like this. This is man stuff, man. This is cool. This is like, this is cool, bro. Now when the time drew near that Maccabias should die, he said unto his sons, now hath pride and rebuke gotten strength, and the time of destruction, and the wrath of indignation. Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time. So shall ye receive great honor and everlasting name. Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness? Joseph in the time of his distress kept the commandment, and was made Lord of Egypt. Phinehas our father, being zealous and fervent, obtained the covenant of an everlasting priesthood. Joshua, for fulfilling the word, was made a judge in Israel. Caleb, for bearing witness before the congregation, received the heritage of the land. David, for being merciful, possessed the throne of an everlasting kingdom. Elias, for being zealous and fervent for the law, was taken up into heaven. So he gives a bunch of different examples. Let me skip down. Daniel, for his innocency, was delivered from the mouth of the lions. And thus consider ye throughout all the ages, that none that put their trust in him shall be overcome. Fear not then the words of a sinful man, for his glory shall be dung and worms. Today he shall be lifted up, and tomorrow he shall not be found, because he is returned into his dust, and his thought is come to nothing. Wherefore, ye my sons, be valiant, and show yourselves men in behalf of the law, for by it shall ye obtain glory. And behold, I know that your brother Simon is a man of counsel. Give ear unto him always, he shall be a father unto you. As for Judas Maccabees, he hath been mighty and strong, even from his youth up. Let him be your captain, and fight the battle of the people. Also take unto you all those that observe the law, and avenge ye the wrong of your people. Recompense fully the heathen, and take heed to the commandments of the law. So he blessed them, and was gathered to his fathers, and he died in 160 year, and his sons buried him in the sepulchres of his fathers at Modin, and all Israel made great lamentation for him. Then Judas, called Maccabees, rose up in his stead, and all his brethren helped him, and so did all they that held with his father, and they fought with faithfulness, the battle of Israel. So he gat his people great honor, and put on a breastplate as a giant, and girt his warlike harness about him, and made battles, protecting the host with his sword. In his acts he was like a lion, and like a lion's whelp, roaring for his prey. For he pursued the wicked, and sought them out, and burnt up those that vexed his people. Wherefore the wicked shrunk for fear of him, and all the workers of iniquity were troubled, because salvation prospered in his hand. And grieved also many kings, and made Jacob glad with his acts, and his memorial is blessed forever. Moreover, he went through the cities of Judah, destroying the ungodly out of them, and turning away wrath from Israel, so that he was renowned unto the utmost part of the earth, and received unto him such as were ready to perish. Then Apollonius gathered the Gentiles together with a great host out of Samaria to fight against Israel. Which thing, when Judas perceived, he went forth to meet him, and so he smote him and slew him. Many also fell down slain, but the rest fled. Wherefore Judas took the spoils and Apollonius' sword also, and therewith he fought all his life long. Now when Sihon, a prince of the army of Syria, heard say that Judas had gathered unto him a multitude and company of the faithful to go out with him to war, he said, I will get me a name and honor in the kingdom, for I will go fight with Judas and them. My page keep blowing. And them that are with him, who despise the king's commandments. So he made him ready to go up, and there went with him a mighty host of the ungodly to help him, and to be avenged of all the children of Israel. And when he came near to the going up of Beth Horon, Judas went forth to meet him with a small company. Who, when they saw the host coming to meet them, said unto Judas, how shall we be able, being so few, to fight against so great a multitude and so strong, seeing we are ready to faint with fasting all this day? Unto whom Judas answered, it is no hard matter for many to be shut up in the hands of a few, and with the God of heaven it is all one, to deliver with a great multitude or a small company. For the victory of battle standeth not in the multitude of a host, but the strength cometh from heaven. They come against us in much pride and iniquity to destroy us, and our wives and our children, and to spoil us. But we fight for our lives and our laws. Wherefore the Lord himself will overthrow them before our face. And as for you, ye be not afraid of them. Now as soon as he had left off speaking, he leapt suddenly upon them. And so Sihon and his hosts were overthrown before him. And they pursued them from the going down of Beth Horon unto the plain, where were slain about 800 men of them. And the residue fled into the land of the Philistines. Then began the fear of Judas and his brethren, and an exceeding great dread to fall upon the nations round about them. Insomuch his fame came to the king, and all the nations talked about the battles of Judas. Now when King Antiochus heard these things, he was full of indignation. Wherefore he sent and gathered together all the forces of his realm, even a very strong army. He opened also his treasure and gave soldiers pay for a year, commanding them to be ready whensoever he should need them. I'm scared this lie's gonna cut off. That's why I'm reading so fast. But maybe I should just stop and let you guys read the rest. I think that's the best thing to do. Yeah, it's in the Apocrypha. Go check it out. Read the story. I love this story, bro. It really is one of my favorite stories. Probably my favorite, person of the scriptures. Judas Maccabees. Like, he was that dude, bro. Like, he really gave his life to the cause, and I can respect that, bro. Like, even when they asked him, like, yo, are you even gonna get married? He was just like, huh? Like, I wasn't even thinking about that. Like, I'm just all about, the people, getting these heathen out our damn land, roaring like a lion. Like, who could stop that, bro? Like, this filled me up with so much, bro. I feel like yelling to the top of my lungs. I feel so confident. I love that story, man. I love that story. So yeah, bro, this was the day where we got the Greeks and the rest of the heathens, outer land. You know, we fought against them. Now, as I said before, this time around, we don't have to do that. The Watchers are going to do it. They're going to do it. They are our Judas this time. So thank you guys for stopping by. Um, these two topics kind of met together pretty well, and I'm pleased with that. So that's about it, guys. I got some more videos I'm going to release later on, so be on the watch. May peace be with you.